Mark, and thanks very much for having me on.
Good. No, no problem. Good to be catching up. So, I mean, the annuals were out not so long ago. I wonder if we can have a bit of an overview of them from your point of view, but probably more importantly, what's to come. Annuals are always backwards looking, aren't they? So, what's the outlook? What's coming down the track?
Yeah. As you said, Friday we released our results the year ending 31 December 2023. It was kind of reflective of the year before because we sort of in this space it's very cyclical. So you have a 4-year cycles that are sort of pivoted around the Bitcoin halving, which drives sentiment, and of course the last halving was which we're leading up to was this year's April, I think 22nd. So 2023 sort of was demonstrating the improvement on 2022, which is leading up to 2024 going into 2025, which is the time in the cycle where Coinsilium is supposed to or intending to make hay while the sun shines, which is what we've been gearing up to. So, it does move at a certain pace. We've positioned ourselves in late last year, 2023, with our new Web3 focused website, and we're all set for the halving and things to go as we predict them to. In terms of actually sentiment running with these cycles. So yeah, the upshot is that if you look at the beginning of 2023, the price of Bitcoin was 17,000 or thereabouts. It ended the year at 42,000, which is a significant increase, but 2023 started at that level, and we're now sort of in the high 50s, low 60s. Trading range bouncing about a bit and quite choppy. This is all very relevant to our business. It's not sort of an academic measure because it does impact on sentiment, and sentiment impacts on the projects we work on and the advisory work we do and the investments we make, because that's key to everything in this space. So going forward, as I mentioned, we're sort of pretty set up to expand the work we're doing, particularly in investment in new tokens, and also advisory work, which is something we've cut our cloth. We tend to run. We expand that when the market's going, and we sort of contract that when the business isn't there in the down cycles. So the last sort of meaningful upcycle we had, particularly for our advisory works, started in 2017 when the ICOs first started, and we formed the advisory division. And in that, just so you're aware, we work with about 10 ICOs, some very big names in 2017. And this advisory work effectively uses Eddie and his connections, and now we've got a larger team. But what that actually does is we help projects that are launching, that are looking to raise funds through token sales, token launches. And in 2017, we really outperformed. We worked with 10 projects, and that was reflected on our two. We helped them raise around 500 million through the crypto markets, and we recorded revenues in the corresponding period in 2018 of 1.68 million. So that's kind of the ambition to recreate what we did before, but we wanted to give ourselves a little bit more scale and scope. So we acquired last year a token advisory business called Tokenomy, and a pipeline of clients, and also the capabilities now being integrated into the Coinsilium model. So we're really lining ourselves up for this next wave, which, as I say, is really just starting to get into gear. We have announced one advisory client this year, and in fact, we've coming on to the next announcement that we released on Tuesday, which is a partnership with Lightflow, which is a technical advisory service. So bottom line is the outlook is really geared to the next wave that we're expecting to come down the track, and also us positioning ourselves particularly for the advisory work where we get paid on a results basis, on the basis that we help projects do successful token launches, and we are working towards regenerating the same kind of model, but with a few more bells and whistles, which we'll come on to. So we're all sort of geared up. If I can move on to the announcements that we've made recently, because that sort of follows on from this. So on Tuesday, we announced that we had we signed an MOU which is the first step to a long-term collaboration with a company called Lightflow. And Lightflow is an experienced Web3 and NFT technical developer. What we've always had in our advisory kind of toolkit is the ability to help projects with the strategy, with the token modeling, with the connections. We've helped them by introducing them to market makers, third parties, and funders, ensuring that their model is in line with what the market expect. What we never had was the ability to actually provide the technical kind of advice and strategy. And we've always sort of relied on third parties for that, but also requiring that the companies that come to us have an internal capability. Another area that we sort of did informally was help them with their funding. So what this partnership with or this collaboration with Lightflow means is that they bring those elements that we were lacking to the table. So this is even more important for us because we that now become a one-stop shop, and we can provide between us and Lightflow the technical expertise as well as the business strategy and the connections and all the things that the project needs to actually take it to its token launch and beyond. And this is an important strategic long-term collaboration, because what it also brings in is we can now bring in VC funding and particularly crypto funding, and also give us more confidence when we're allocating our funding, and Lightflow as well. So conjoining with this agreement is also an initiative to put up for grabs $1 million for early stage Web3 startups. Now that funding is going to come from Coinsilium, it's going to come from Lightflow, and it's also going to come from an investment committee that we will be putting together, which will include other funders. And this will all be on a discretionary basis, so that we get to select the projects that we are going to work with. We'll provide our level of strategic advisory, and Lightflow will provide the technical side, and the funders will, with us and them, have the first rights to invest at the earliest stage that you can get into these projects. Plus, we'll also be charging for our advisory service, and that will be paid in tokens as well. So it's really the final piece of the jigsaw for the advisory capability to put us up there in together with some of the biggest firms. So it's quite an exciting development, and it couldn't come at a better time, because we're just really ready for the next leg of this cycle to kick in, where we're going to start seeing some of these token launches, and also, as I said, this gives us the chance to get into some very interesting projects very early.
And just on the cycles, you've said that a few times, Malcolm. Where do you think we are in this 4-year cycle, and what do you think the driver's going to be? From what you're talking about with what you're involved in, it's sounding certainly like it's Web3.
Yes. The Web3 is a term that is becoming more prevalent, but really it's natural with all technology evolutions. The terminology changes all the time, and the use of the term blockchain is becoming, I won't say it's redundant, because but it's becoming more specifically used to describe that technology rather than a sector. So Web3 is now the catch-all that is being used for anything to do with the new internet, which is a decentralized, envisages a decentralized internet, which is powered by blockchain technology. So Web3, you're going to see all the things that are currently in crypto, because that is what sort of, that's the currency, if you like, of the blockchain and Web3. But it includes decentralized finance. It also includes tokens for business models like platforms. It comes in internal currency. So Web3 is the kind of catch-all. And in answer to your question about where we are in the cycle, these are quite predictable because, what happens with the halving, the Bitcoin halving, and let's not forget, Bitcoin represents the highest proportion of all its dominance. I actually haven't checked its dominance lately, but it is the largest cryptocurrency, and it drives everything. It's the bellwether. So every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin available for rewards for miners halves. And we're at a stage now where that happened in April, and we're in the immediate aftermath of that. And usually that catalyzes the next phase of the cycle. So 2024 April, we're now a few months into that. What's happening now is that the Bitcoin miners are becoming, are having to adjust to the new pricing dynamic or reward dynamic, because they get less. Halving means half, as in half the rewards available. So they have to kind of get their economics right. But this has traditionally, in every halving event and every cycle, it's always resulted in a pullback and a lot of volatility in the immediate aftermath, because miners are fighting amongst each other to kind of extinguish the least efficient miners, and the larger ones with scale are trying to do a land grab. So they're forcing the price down by selling their stock. They're not doing it necessarily just to force the price down, but a lot of miners have to sell their stock of Bitcoin to survive, and keep the lights burning, because it's half as economic to mine Bitcoin as it was before the halving, because the rewards are half what they were. So what we're seeing now is a lot of things, moving parts, which means that, is translating to the price of Bitcoin under pressure. Last time I looked, it was about 58,500. Now, that still, is way off the high of 74,000, but that kind of pullback is not unusual. But if you think of going back just to the end of the year, the price was 42,000. So in real terms, it's gone up quite a lot. But, you will get these quite, this sector's not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, let's just finish up by talking about the other announcement you made recently. That's
yes,
the simple agreement for the future tokens with Otomato. That's the Web3 automation protocol. So it involves purchasing $75,000 worth of future token in this, what you're calling the early backers round. So I guess the very first round, and then you have an option to acquire an additional 150 or so thousand US dollars worth of tokens. So just explain a little bit about this opportunity, this early stage opportunity, and what this what it means to Coinsilium really, and how much involvement you will have.
Sure. Well, I mean, this is an interesting project for us because it is a true Web3 project. These guys are, let's explain what an automation protocol is. So usually, the traditional users of decentralized finance, there's a lot of money in decentralized finance. It's one of the most lucrative areas, and it's burgeoned. But in order to actually trade effectively and do all the stuff you need to do, is an awful lot of research. There are traders that make lots of money doing it, and there's lots of solutions available for them. But the most predominant factor is that these traders do need to have a high degree of technical proficiency in order to program their trades into the whatever platform they're using, or whatever pairs they're looking to trade. So there's a lot of conditionality in the trading, and those that have got the ability to program the smart contracts and write and create these trading pairs are the ones that are dominating now. And What Otomato does is the same with pretty much any evolving technology, and it's one of Eddie's comments, is that the next phase of Web3 is going to be to kind of make it more accessible to those who haven't got that deep technical knowledge. So what Otomato does is it's an interface. So if you know what you want to trade and how you want to trade, but you can't, develop the skills, or you haven't got the technical partners who've got those, that side covered, you simply will use platforms like Otomato to actually you put in what you want to do, and it creates the program for you. So this is something we're seeing more and more, but what we haven't been able to see until this came along was an early enough stage project for us to actually make a difference with our investment and to get real value. Because this is one of those blue sky projects, which Eddie's comments, he says this positions Otomato to potentially be a cornerstone of global Web3 adoption. And it's also meaning it's a first mover thing. So if they get their tech right and it appeals to the users, and also some of the protocols out there that can be plugged into it as an interface, it can actually offer access to those who haven't got those tech skills, and can create significant value. We've done something pretty creative with this deal as well, because the value will come from us when they do their token launch, and that's envisaged for next year. But as with all these things, you don't actually have a fixed date. They've got to do a lot of development and get a lot of things done before that can happen. But in the meantime, the actual platform, which is Otomato XYZ, is going to be is targeted launching towards the end of the year. And once that launches, it generates revenues from users and from affiliate fees. So we've struck a deal which gives us 7.5% of the revenues generated by the platform from the point of its launch and the point it generates revenues until the point of the token launch, when at that point we get our tokens and they start vesting, and that's when the value shifts to the token holder. So we just got that sort of base covered, and if it is delayed in any way, then we still will continue to earn revenues whilst we're waiting. So we thought that was quite a good creative way of actually giving us some comfort to make this investment. But don't get me wrong, this team is very, very skilled. They're very good at what they're doing. They've recently been selected in the first batch of a Mode Yield Accelerator program, which is quite a prestigious program, and they're doing pretty well on that. So we're starting to see a lot of news about it. Look, all these things are speculative, but we're quite confident that this is a very good project for our portfolio, and we're looking forward to seeing their developments, and hopefully we'll be able to provide the market with some good news about this going forward.
Excellent. Okay, well, Malcolm, it sounds like there's a fair bit going on, as you say, in this particular point in the cycle here. So, I mean, in terms of what's coming for investors to keep an eye on, or you, any sort of catalyst moments coming up, do you think?
Everything that is going on, bubbling along beneath the surface, is still happening. We're seeing developments with our existing investments that we should be able to release news about soon as well. I sort of keep it general and say there is a lot of news in the pipeline, I think we just need to just keep our heads down doing the work, and as the news as the developments happen, we'll release the news on it, and I think we'll probably have quite a bit of that going forward for the rest of the year, and hopefully throughout the 2025.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Malcolm Palley, the Executive Chairman there for Coinsilium. Thank you very much for your time today.
Pleasure. Thanks, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like, or a retweet. subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programmes at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.